Okay, good morning. Good morning, Boker Tov. I arrived yesterday. It's good to be here. And sure. And it's great to be part of the Aleinu conference and to be with people who are being Moser Nefesh, who are giving their lives for Am Yisrael and Klal Yisrael. And I'm in awe and have tremendous and the highest respect. So it's great to be together to speak about one of my favorite topics, a topic I've not only been speaking about, I speak about it because I speak about the things that I'm trying to work on for myself, and I end up just sharing it with others. And I've been working on this for a long time, which is a peculiar thing to say. You'd think that if you grew up observant and had a Jewish education, you've been working on Emunah, Bitachon, and Dveikos your entire life. So what does it mean that for the last several years I've been working on Emunah? And I think the answer is, I don't know your experience, but in mine, even though I have the most amazing parents and was brought up in the most amazing family and went to the most amazing schools and had the most amazing teachers, all that said, my very, very comprehensive and wonderful and incredible Jewish education did not include conversation or talk about Emunah or Bitachon, or for that matter, in many ways, even Hashem. There was a lot of talk about Gemara and Halacha, Chumash and Navi, Melamed Tes Malachos, and Yom Tovim, and all kinds of ideas. But the notion of an ongoing, vibrant, dynamic relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to spend a life in conversation with Him, to feel His presence, His love, His support, to feel accountable to Him, to unburden ourselves to Him, to surrender to Him, to speak to Him. That wasn't part of my educational experience. That wasn't part of my experience bichlal. And I think that is part, or is meant to be part of, it's the definition of the Jewish experience. It's really what it's all about. Torah and mitzvahs are a platform for dveikas b'Hashem. The whole idea is to cling to connect with. It's tzivur, it's tzavos. Tzavos is, it's a connection, it's a chibur, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the Ribono Shel Olam. So with the lamdas and with the halacha and with all very, very important and critical, with all the information and with all the knowledge and with all the mitzvahs and all the life and all the lifestyle, but it should be informed and animated by this connection with Hashem. So several years ago, I began really exploring and looking into and trying to learn the language, much more than just the vocabulary and the language of Emunah, but trying to live it and trying to practice it. And I find in the Rabbanos, and maybe in your kir of work you find similarly, that when you speak about something, so it sort of is machayev yourself. If you're talking about it and presenting it and exploring it and encouraging others to do it, how could you not do it? How could you not be the one who's doing it? So I started giving a shiurim on Emunah, and all the shiurim I give, I would say that these maybe have the biggest following or connection, people who learn together with me. And the impact that it has, people started sending emails about how living with Emunah changes life. Physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, happiness, the capacity to have resilience, to be able to endure whatever life throws our ways. And then the Emunah shir that I give weekly, I begin by reading emails from people about what Emunah does for them. So I want to spend a little time today. I was told to speak about Emunah and to give a shir on Emunah. I don't think to give a shir about how to give a shir on Emunah, but to give a shir on Emunah, although I'm open and happy to take it whichever direction everybody wants. But what I find is that this life of Emunah, Bitachon, and Dveikos, which are fundamental mitzvahs of the Torah, whether it's the first of the Aseres HaDibros, or it's the precursor, the precondition, the prerequisite to the Aseres HaDibros, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, however you count within the Monei mitzvahs, whether there's a mitzvah proper to have Emunah, but Emunah is the platform, it's the foundation of our whole lives, of everything we do, from the moment we wake up in the morning till we fall asleep at night. Life is one long conversation with Hashem. The Gemara Seich Hazal tells us, Halavai sheyispal adam kol hayom. Halavai, a person would daven the entire day, which is a peculiar comment to make because a person has a lot of obligations and responsibilities. So what do you mean halavai? Halavai that we could sit in shul all day. Halavai you could sit with your tehillim all day. Halavai we could be in conversation with Hashem, what? And neglect our children, our family, our community, our responsibility, neglect ourselves. What do you mean halavai sheyispal adam kol yom kulo? So several tzaddikim explain what it means. Halavai sheyispal kol yom kulo means halavai we'd live a life that wherever we are and whatever we're doing is one ongoing tefillah to Hashem. So you wake up in the morning, you say, Kadosh Baruch Hu, let it not be snowing when I have to go outside, let it not be raining when I have to get everyone in the car. Kadosh Baruch Hu, I get in the car and I pull out of the driveway or the car park. Is that what it's called? When I pull out, Kadosh Baruch Hu, let me get where I'm going, my destination safely, securely. Kadosh Baruch Hu, let me be successful in whatever I have in my diary for the day, whatever I meant to be doing that day. Halavai sheyispal kol yom kulo. Halavai that our entire life should be informed by a tefillah to Hashem. Before everything that we do, I'm about to give a shir, Hashem put the words in my mouth. I'm about to drive, let everything be safely, let it may arrive at my destination. I'm about to put the kugel in the oven, let it have all the ingredients, let it come out, and let it be delicious. Wherever we are, whatever we're doing, we're walking into the boardroom or the operating room, we're walking into whatever room of life, it's introduced with a tefillah. That our entire life is Emunah. Hashem is right by our side. His hand is on our shoulder. He's experiencing and living life with us. We are in constant conversation. We're in constant conversation with him. David HaMelech said the same thing. Hashem. All David HaMelech wanted was Shifti Beis Hashem, Kol Yemei Chayai. What do you mean, David HaMelech? You're a king. You're a warrior. You have an awesome responsibility to protect. You have a responsibility to govern. You have a responsibility to Klal Yisrael. So what do you mean, Acha Sha'alti? There's only one thing I want. Shifti Beis Hashem, Kol Yemei Chayai. I just want to sit in the house of Hashem. What about all your other responsibilities? You can't forfeit. You can't just sit in the house of Hashem all day long. So Slonim Rebbe, Nesiv Shalom, and others say what David HaMelech meant was not, I want to sit in your house and neglect all my other responsibilities. Wherever I go and whatever I'm doing, I want to transform it to be a Beis Hashem. I'm in my house, I'm in the kitchen cooking, I'm sitting and I'm doing the homework, I'm cleaning, I'm on the phone checking in on people, whatever I'm doing, I've transformed it to a Beis Hashem because you're right by my side. I'm in constant conversation with you. Wherever I go and whatever I'm doing, it's not that I want to neglect it all, abandon it all in order to sit the Beis Hashem in the Beis HaMikdash. I want to transform wherever I am and elevate it, and I want to make it into a Beis HaMikdash. I want to take it with me and make it into a Beis HaMikdash wherever I am. That's the ideal. That's the life that we're meant to be living. Shivisi Hashem L'negdi Samid, a life of Hishtavus. The Baal Shem Tov, but much earlier than him, they called Hishtavus Shivisi. Even when L'negdi, even when it feels that there's something opposite me, there are obstacles and impediments and I have to overcome, there's tension, there's friction, even when it feels like there's Negdi, there are things opposite me, Shivisi milashon shaveh, everything's equal, equanimity. It's all equal. Kodesh Baruch Hu, I don't get too high, I don't get too low, I don't get too happy, I don't get too sad, I don't get too excited, I don't get too calm, because shivisi, shaveh, hishtavas, equanimity, equal. It's all equal to me because you're by my side. You're with me in the good times and the bad times. You're with me when it's all flowing, and you're with me when it is going nowhere. You're with me always, and you're right by my side, no matter what I'm doing. That's how it's explained. Rav Goldberg has a beautiful piece in his commentary in the Parsha, Shiri Chumash. Rav Goldberg says, Yaakov Avinu is saying Shema, he's reunited with Yosef after 22 years. 22 years that he's inconsolable. 22 years that he's just mourning and grieving. 22 years that he feels so distant from his beloved, from his Yosef. And now they reunite. Yosef's crying. Yosef's hugging. Yosef's loving. Yosef has this unbelievable relief. And what does Yaakov do? Shema Yisrael. It seems, it's hard to understand. This is a parent. This is a loving father. In that moment, he's disconnected. In that moment, he's steiging. He's saying to Tehillim. He says to Yosef, yeah, it's been 22 years. I got a chap mincha. I'll meet you afterwards. He's saying Shema in that moment. That's what he's doing, saying Shema in that moment. How do you understand that? So Rav Goldberg says, because a tzaddik who practices Hishtava, Shivisi Hashem, for a tzaddik, it was an incredible moment. That reunion was an emotional moment. But they're never too high and you're never too low. It's always about Hashem. And even in that moment, he was feeling, even in that moment, he was connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he was connecting to Hashem. So this notion of Emunah and Bitachon is not just stam a mitzvah. There's a big machlokus if Emunah is the first mitzvah of the Aseres HaDibros. Is Anochi Hashem Elokecha the first mitzvah of the Aseres HaDibros? Or is Anochi a preface to the Aseres HaDibros? Because there are no Aseres HaDibros without Anochi. There's no notion of commandments if there's no commander. So the first act is to believe, to surrender, to have faith in the commander. And once you acknowledge there's a commander, now you can accept, now you can receive, now you're bound by his commandments. First there is Anochi. Anochi, Emunah is as I said, the platform, the backbone, the foundation of all Torah mitzvahs. Without Emunah, without understanding that there's a mitzvah, that there's somebody who's commanding us, without having a life that you're inspired and informed and you're living. If you live a life without Emunah, you're living in black and white. And if you live a life with Emunah, you're living in living color. Everything comes alive and you see him everywhere and you feel his presence in everything. And that doesn't mean that everything goes smoothly and everything is well and everything is happy and everything is great. That was also last week's parsha. Yaakov Avinu and Paro meet up. Much anticipated meeting, certainly for Yosef. His father, Yaakov, who is the spiritual giant of his life and of the world, and Paro, who is the most powerful man on the planet. And they're finally going to meet. And what are they going to talk about? World peace, solving world hunger. What are they going to talk about? Metaphysics, the cosmos. What do they talk about? It is the most mundane and it's the most pedestrian conversation of all time. It's so disappointing. We are flies on the wall because the Torah tells us exactly what the conversation was. And how does the conversation go? Paro says, "Wow, you look old. How old are you?" And Yaakov says, "I'm this old, and boy, has my life been tough." And Paro says, "Okay, give me a bracha, shkoyach sei gesund. Be on your way." He said, "That's it. That's what they spoke about. That's what they talked about. That's it. That's the conversation. That's the conversation." So there's a lot of interpretations, a lot of ways to understand what was the conversation. The Ksava Kabbalah of Yaakov Tzvi Mecklenburg understands a very beautiful insight. He says they were talking what Chazal called Dvarim Shel Mabkach. Dvarim Shel Mabkach means just casual conversation. They were shooting the breeze. I don't know if that's a British expression too. In America, you say shooting the breeze. They were just schmoozing. What do you think about the flurries outside, the weather? What do you think about the snow? What do you think about whatever? They were just casual, small, pedestrian conversation, just shooting the breeze. And Rav Yaakov Tzvi Mecklenburg, the Ksava Kabbalah, says having casual conversation is very important. Why? Because if every conversation you have with everyone always has a tachlis, there's always a tochen, there's always a goal, and there's always agenda, then it's not really the person you care about, it's the agenda of the conversation with them. What can I get out of them? How are they useful? How are they functional? How are they transactional? How are they pragmatic? What do I need to achieve in this conversation? It's not about you. I don't love you. I don't have a connection with you. I don't care about you. I care about what you can do for me. What's the tochen? What's the tachlis? What am I getting out of this conversation? But when a person has dvarim shel mabkach, if you just sit and have coffee with someone and there's no agenda and there's no deep conversation and there's no tochen, there's no tachlis, and you're just like, no, what's new with you? No, what do you think about the weather? No, what? Just dvarim shel mabkach. What you're saying is, I just want to be with you. I just care about you. I just want to connect with you, and it's not about something that I need to get. It's not about something that's in it for me. So that's what Yaakov and Paro were experiencing, lest you think that when you're in the room with these giants, they're going to be having conversation that move the cosmos. Dvarim shel mabkach. Because Dvarim shel mabkach, there's something to be said about Dvarim shel mabkach. I think that's very important for the work that we do, Rabbanis and Kiruv and all Avodas HaKodesh. It's true for life. It's true in relationships. It's true with our children. It's true in our marriage. It's true with our friends. Dvarim shel mabkach. That not every conversation has to have an agenda. It doesn't have to be the most deep, what are they called? Do they have DMCs here? My kids call it the deep, meaningful conversations. You don't have to stay up all night having DMCs. You could have the shallow, meaningless conversation. That's a loose translation of Dvarim shel mabkach. That's a new SMCs, shallow, meaningless conversations. Well, you just get together for a cup of coffee for a shallow, meaningless conversation because that matters too. And it's important to communicate to people, I just want to be with you. I just want to spend time with you. And it always doesn't have to be so deep and meaningful. That's one understanding. But what were Yaakov and Paro talking about? So others explain what Yaakov was telling Paro is, I want you to know, I may be the greatest spiritual giant of the generation. But don't think that because I live with this elevated relationship with the Almighty that my life has gone easy. Living with Emunah doesn't translate to smooth sailing. Living with Emunah doesn't mean, well, if I surrender to Hashem, well, we're going to cut a deal. If I live with Emunah, then He's going to give me everything I want. Everything's going to happen exactly the way I want. It's not true. Some who live with the highest levels of Emunah still struggle. Chas v'shalom, Rahman al-Islam, with illness, with infertility, with loneliness, with the struggle with parnasa, with all the challenges in the world. We know some of the most people with the greatest faith we know have the greatest challenges. It was true in Tanakh and it's true today. So living with Emunah is not a recipe or a formula for smooth sailing or for an easy life. And that's what Yaakov was telling him. Before you get too excited that you're meeting me and I'm going to have an influence on you, and if you adopt a relationship with Hashem, then everything will go well. No, I've had a really difficult life. All I wanted was Leishid Bashalva. All I wanted to have some harmony and tranquility and peace in my life. And I never had it. Because don't think for a moment that living with Emunah translates means it'll all be good. It'll all be good. In Mesilas Yesharim, the Ramchal writes, Pasuk says, Tashas Choshas Vihi Laila, and Choshech is Olam Hazeh. That darkness is living in this world. This world is a dark place. And the Torah is the antidote to the darkness of this world. The root of the word Torah is Or. Ora Zu Torah, the Pasuk in Megillah, Vayidamai Sa'ora, Gemara Megillah Darshans, Ora Zu Torah. Light is Torah. The root of the word Torah is literally light. It turns on the light. If I want to get to the door, and I'm sitting here in this chair, I got to navigate around this table and around those chairs and around the people and try to get to the door, right? So if the room were dark, if we're pitch black in here and the door were closed and I couldn't see anything, I could stumble, I could trip, I could fall, I could stub my toe because there's a table and there are chairs and there are people. It's hard to get to the door. If I turn the light on in the room, does it move the table and the chairs? Does it eliminate the people? All the obstacles, all the impediment, they're still there. What did the light do for me? Now I can see and I can navigate and I can figure out how to get around, how to avoid collision, how to not hurt myself, how to not trip and fall, how to try to get where I'm going, how to make my destination. The light, the difference between light and dark is not a difference of what's in the room. It's a difference in empowering me of how to navigate it. Ora zu Torah, Torah is the light that lets me navigate how to go, how to get where I'm going. So the world is a dark place. It's a very dark place. There's a lot of darkness in this world. There are a lot of obstacles and a lot of impediments and a lot of ways that we can trip and fall. And when we live with Torah, when you live with Emunah, it doesn't eliminate the obstacles, but it gives us the strength and the courage and the energy and the tools to be able to navigate. That's what Yaakov was telling Paro. So living a life with Emunah doesn't mean that our problems go away. It means we have the faith to be able to confront them, to live with them, to overcome them, to endure, and to be resilient beyond them. That's what it is. So Emunah is not just another mitzvah. Lit the candles, you put on the tefillin, you sat in the sukkah, you shook the lulav, you blew the shofar. Emunah is not just another mitzvah. Emunah is the backdrop for all mitzvahs. It is the ultimate mitzvah. It is the foundational mitzvah. It is the central mitzvah. It's the core mitzvah. It is the mitzvah against which all other mitzvahs are lived. Because if the mitzvah is not informing a relationship with Hashem, if it's not pushing you to a closer connection and relationship with Hashem, then did you even fulfill the mitzvah? It's all about the connection. It's about the way we live our life. It's about the way we live our world. It's halavashe ispala kol yom kulo. It's being in a conversation from when we wake up, moda'ani, rabba emunasecha, Hashem, your faith in me is great, which is the way moda'ani ends, in a peculiar way. We normally think about emunah as our faith in Hashem. But moda'ani ends, rabba emunasecha, Hashem, your faith in me is great. What kind of faith does Hashem have in me? He's the source of all existence, the creator of the world, the omnipotent, infinite one. He doesn't have to have faith. We have faith in him because he's invisible. But what faith does he have to have in us? And why is that the way we wake up in the morning? And the answer is the very fact that we woke up this morning. The very fact. I've buried too many people who didn't wake up in the morning. If we woke up this morning and we're here to live another day, it means our job is not yet done. It means his faith in us is still there. Kodesh Baruch Hu has faith in us. Rabbah emunasecha. Kodesh Baruch Hu has faith in us. We should have faith in ourselves. We should believe in ourselves. We should draw encouragement and strength and power and empowerment from the fact that we woke up this morning. Just waking up this morning, just opening your eyes. Before you confront the day, before you overcome whatever there is to do today, just waking up is already a victory and a win. Rabbah emunasech, Hashem, your faith in me is great because I woke up this morning. You still believe in me, and I still have work to do, and I'm ready to start the day. So from the way we wake up in the morning, moda'ani, grateful am I, which is in the order it is, because even though grammatically it should be ani modeh, a Jew doesn't wake up with the word I. Your first word on your lips can't be I. The first word on our lips instead is grateful, gratitude. The attitude of gratitude. Modeh ani, grateful am I. Grammatically incorrect, but philosophically dead on. You don't start the day with ani, I. You start the day with modeh, grateful. Grateful am I that you have faith in me and that I'm here to live another day. We start our day with a conversation with Hashem. And we end our day with Shema and a conversation with Hashem. And in between the entire day, we're living a conversation with Hashem. That just informs the whole way we live and we interpret everything that's going on, everything that's happening in our lives. I want to give you a little exercise. I want to give you an exercise. I was hoping for a more colorful room. It's a pretty bland room. Not a criticism of the designers of this magnificent shul. It's just a pretty plain room. Okay. Look around this room and try to identify everywhere you see the color black. Anything in the room that has the color black. Look for everything with the color black. See everything with the color black? Okay, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes and tell me something. Someone say something they saw that was black. The grout in the tiles was black. Great. Anything else? The window frame is black. Great. A lot of what? A lot of coats. A lot of people's winter coats. Yeah, for those in Florida, winter coats are what you put on when it's snowing outside. A lot of winter coats are black. Okay, good. Good. Now tell me, did you see something in this room that was red? What's red in this room?
The top of the switch.
The top of that switch is red. Okay. So this is an exercise Tony Robbins does, a great motivational speaker, and he points out the following. When I told you to look for black things, you identified all the black things, you closed your eyes. When I said to look for red, it's hard to come up with almost anything red in this room. Why? Because, he points out, our beliefs filter our perceptions. We think that we see, and then we form our beliefs. We look around this world, we experience the world, we interact with people, and then based on our experiences, we formulate and we form our beliefs. But it's actually the opposite. We form our beliefs, and then we look and we see what reinforces what we already believed. We filter our perceptions, which guide our meanings. We give experience and govern our emotions. So much so that you might have even seen things that weren't really entirely black, but you convinced yourself because you were trying to build an impressive list of all the black things in the room that you could see, so you convinced yourself. That belief of wanting to look for something black made you see even things black that weren't. And on the other hand, when I said, did you see red things? Things that weren't exactly red, but now you'll convince yourself were red, because our beliefs create, they're the filter through which our perceptions, what we look for, what we see in this world. And he speaks about that in the realm of positivity. A person who's positive and living a positive life will look and will see and will live with positivity. And if you're negative and hypercritical and you encounter and engage the world with negativity, then you're going to experience and you're going to see the negative. So it's not that we see and we experience the world and then we form our beliefs. We have our beliefs, and then our beliefs inform the way that we see the world. What we see will validate or reinforce what we already believed before we were even looking to begin with. Emunah is the belief that's meant to be the filter. It's the glasses through which we look out and we see and we live and we interpret the world. David HaMelech tells us, the pasuk in Tehillim in Kuf Dal, it says, Malah ha'aretz kinyanecha, which literally translates, Malah ha'aretz kinyanecha means that the earth is full with your possessions. Kinyanecha, Hashem, you own everything. This world is yours, the world and everything in it. Malah ha'aretz kinyanecha. The Hasidim, the Tzaddikim say, Malah ha'aretz kinyanecha, we should reinterpret it, read it to mean, Malah ha'aretz kinyanecha. The world is filled with ways with which we can make a kinyan on you. We can make a kinyan on you. If you look around and you see and you experience and you feel and you hear, just to spend time, a little hisbodedus. They don't have to always be AirPods in our ear. You're allowed to walk on the street and hear the rustle of the leaves and look at the flakes of the snow, and you're allowed to feel the breeze, and you're allowed to experience the cold or the warmth of the sun on your neck, and all of that is a wink and a hug and a love, a nod from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the Ribbon Shalom. He's all around us. Did you get a parking spot easily today? Did it open up just when you needed it? That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's a wink, that's a nod, that's a hug. The little things in life in our entire day are an ongoing conversation with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's with us wherever we are, sometimes in the most ideal locations, and sometimes where we never wish or dreamt we would be, but he's always by our side, and we're always in conversation. There are invitations and there are opportunities to always see him and to feel him wherever we are, when things go just right, or they didn't go right, but that was also from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what he's meant. A few weeks ago we read that Yaakov Avinu is running, he's on the run from his brother, fleeing for his life. Vayifka b'makom, he encounters the makom. Vayifka b'makom. What's makom? So makom is one of the names of Hashem, and Vayifka, Pegiya, is one of the Lashonos of Tefillah. It's one of the languages of Tefillah, of davening. The Sha'arim B'Tefillah of Pinchas Sefer quotes from the Yalkut 13 synonyms for Tefillah. Each one is a parak, a chapter of that book. Phenomenal Sefer. There are no two Tefillos. They're all different. The prayer at the bedside, at the maternity ward in the hospital, is very different than the prayer at the bedside in the hospice unit of the hospital. And just because it's the same Sefer Tehillim that's open in both places, doesn't mean it's the same Tefillah. The Tefillah, the prayer that we offer in different circumstances and stages of our life, are very different. And so Bitzur, Rina, Tza'aka, Za'aka, Pegiya, there's 13 synonyms for Tefillah, and they're not redundant or repetitive. Each synonym is reflective of a different form of tefillah. So Vayifka b'makom is a form of tefillah. Yaakov is running in the night, under the darkness of night, when maybe he feels all alone, and wonder, and fear, and doubt, and uncertainty. Vayifka, even in that setting, in that circumstance, even that surrounding, still he finds b'makom, he finds HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Makom is the name of Hashem when we feel far from him. Avram Avinu, Vayaras HaMakom Mirachok. When he comes to the Akedah, he sees the makom, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it feels like he's Mirachok. In the Avel, we pay a Shiva call, we say, Hamakam Yanachim Eschem. Kadosh Baruch Hu, in that moment where he feels far off, he could feel distant, he's called Hamakom, the place, Hamakom. In the Haggadah, We say Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, because Keneged Arba Banim, we're about to say the 4 sons, and one of those sons is a Russia, and when there's a child, there's a Russia. It feels like a Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Makom. Where are you? How did this happen? How could it be? He feels like he's far away. So that name HaMakom is the name of Hashem when it feels like he's far away. And Vayifka is the encounter, the tefillah, the Yaakov Avinu, the darkness, when he can feel far away. Sometimes it can come the closest, we can come the closest to him. But there's something deeper going on here. Vayifka b'makom. Yaakov's on the run. He just learned 14 years in Yeshiva Shem Be'ever. And before that, he was learning in the yeshiva of his father and his grandfather. And all he's done is sit and learn. He's been in the Beis Medrash, he's been in Kollel, and he thinks that that's where Hashem is found. Kodesh Baruch Hu is in the Beis Medrash. Kodesh Baruch Hu is in the Shul. Kodesh Baruch Hu is in the Tehillim group. Kodesh Baruch Hu is found in the sacred moments. Kodesh Baruch Hu is found in the religious activity. That's where Kodesh Baruch Hu can be found. And now he leaves that whole world. He leaves the Beis Medrash. He leaves Yeshiva Shem Be'ever. He leaves, he's no longer Yoshev Olim, but now he leaves that world and he's on the run. And he falls asleep thinking, I've pivoted in my life, and now I've gone from holy to mundane to profane. And now I'm going to live a life, a secular, so to say, life. But he has this dream, and of course we all know the dream of the stairway to heaven, or the ladder bridging heaven and earth. And in this dream, he realizes that there is no separation. It's not binary. There's not either heaven or earth, Kodesh or Chol, but we're Mekadesh the Chol. The ladder is that bridge. Our job is to bring Hashem down, and Hashem is in everything that we do. The eating and the drinking and the sleeping and the carpool and the homework and the bedtime and the cooking and the cleaning and the sweeping and the mopping. And he's in the earning the income and paying the bills and going to shopping. Kodesh Baruch Hu is in everywhere and in everything he does. And he wakes up and he says, Vayikat Yaakov Mishna. So he wakes up from his sleep and he says, Achin yesh Hashem b'makom hazeh v'anochi lo yadati. Wow, Hashem is in this place. And I didn't even know. He's in this place. So that same makom that felt that it was godless, absent God, secular, profane, mundane, now he wakes up and he realizes Hashem is in each and every place. He's everywhere and at all times. And wherever we are is exactly where we are meant to be. It's exactly where we are meant to be. A Yid, a Jew, is never stuck. We're never lost. We're never somewhere we're not meant to be. We are where we're meant to be. And sometimes that works out wonderfully. When it conforms with where we want to be, then it's easy to feel we are where we're meant to be. But sometimes it feels like we're lost. The flight is canceled or delayed. There's traffic. We made a wrong turn. Someone made us late. Something's not working out. And we're not where we want to be, where we're meant to be. But what Yaakov Avinu is teaching us in Vayifka b'makom is a Yid, a Jew, is always where they are meant to be. I've been talking about that a lot in the Emunah shir that we learn. We're hopefully producing a little swag, not trying to make any money off of it, just trying to promote living with Emunah. So luggage tags, Vayifka b'makom, Yesh Hashem b'makom hazeh. Kodesh Baruch Hu, wherever, because your luggage is lost, you're waiting, you're delayed. A lot of the experience of feeling lost or stuck can be in the context of travel. We're making a decal for the windshield. So when you're looking out, there's traffic and the person in front of you is not moving. You made the wrong turn, or you're running late, or they're delayed. You say, no, I'm where I'm meant to be. B'makom. This is the makom. This is where I'm meant to be. This past Friday, I have kids who live in Florida. They live in Hollywood, Florida, and they were going to Miami for Shabbos. They had a simcha. My daughter texted right before Shabbos. She can't believe it, but they left their luggage, their bags, with their children, all their things they needed for Shabbos back in Hollywood. And it was Atat. It was about to be Shabbos. So that was the first time that I suggested, not only is a Yid never lost or stuck, and we are where we're meant to be, our luggage is also where it's meant to be. Even when the luggage is not with us, it's where it's meant to be. And I want to just tell you, this life, and I can testify to this because I have an email folder filled with emails and letters that people write me that changed my life. I gave a shir last night here in London, and a woman came up to me who told me that her young son, through his diagnosis and now through his chemotherapy, it's the Emunah, it's living this life, it's looking through these glasses, it's feeling I am wherever I'm meant to be, and he's by my side, that's getting her through it. It's not me, it's the Torah that we're learning and the emails that we read. It is a radically altogether different way of living and of life. And what it yields, what it brings your life is a serenity and a peace and a health. How much anxiety and how much worry and how much fear and how much uncertainty compromises our very health, from our blood pressure and our sugar and all kinds of health challenges that people have, which are self-imposed because we're sabotaging our own health and our own wellness because we're filled with worry. Mark Twain once said that my life has been filled with many troubles, most of which never happened. My life has been filled with many troubles, most of which never happened. We're worried. What if this doesn't work out? And what if I get there? And what if this fails? And what if that doesn't come together? And what if I fly? And then most of it, all of it, works out because it is the way it's meant to be. It's from Hashem. And if we go in with that peace of mind and that consciousness and that mindfulness, and we remember whatever's about to happen is the way it's meant to be, because he's in charge. I do my preparation, I take my ishtadlus, I take my initiative, and I do my effort, and then I let go and I let God. Then I surrender, and then it's ishtadlus. Then it's an equanimity. Hakol shaveh. Even when it feels linegdi, I have to face headwinds. Kadosh Baruch Hu is in charge. Even then, it's all from Hashem. It's all from above. It's all from above. And it transforms our life. You never get arrogant because Kadosh Baruch Hu is in your life. What are you going to get arrogant? You never get angry because it's all the way it's meant to be. So what am I going to get angry over? A person doesn't feel envious and jealous because I have what I'm meant to have, and I'm not meant to have what someone else has. It is able to relieve us. It is the cure to all the maladies, is to live a life of Emunah, with the mindfulness and the consciousness from the Moda'ani until the Shema at night and all day in between, Halavai She'ispala Kol Yom Kulo, to be in a conversation, to feel his presence, to go into everything we do. And it's changed my life. It's changed my life. From driving to the airport, to the worry about travel, the what will be, or will the shir, the speech work out, will it meet the expectations, to just letting go of it all. I have to do my prep, take my initiative, do my work, and then Hashem, you're in charge. You're in control. It is and it will be the way it's meant to be. I was driving recently to a chasna I was doing, and there was horrific traffic, and I was outside, and I was worried I was running late, and what if they're waiting for me, and what's going to be, and then I remembered, you give the shir, what are you doing? So I just took a deep breath, because the way we restore our neshama is through neshima. It's not a coincidence, it's the same word and the same letters. We first received our neshama through the breath, Vayipach b'apav nishmas chayim. Kadosh Baruch Hu breathed his life into us, and we restore our life through neshima, through breath. That's how we get our neshama back on. When our neshama is out of whack, we can get our neshama back into equilibrium of shivisi, of ishtavas, through a neshima. I took a deep breath and I said, relax. You're in traffic. There's nothing you can do about it. You left on time. You checked Waze. It's in Hashem's hands. You'll get there when you're meant to get there. And of course, by the time I got inside, nothing had started. Nobody was waiting. Everything was fine, which is the way it always is. And if I were worried and anxious in the car and banging the steering wheel and honking the person in front of me and worrying my blood pressure was going up and my sweat glands were pumping, would that have cleared traffic? It never clears traffic. It never makes things work out. It never relieves the problems. All it does is compromise and sacrifice and sabotage our own health, our own wellness, our own happiness. And then you're yelling at the person next to you, even though it wasn't their fault. We should have left earlier, even though we left on time. It ruins your relationships. It ruins everything. When you live a life of Emunah and you say, this is the way it's meant to be. I'm where I'm meant to be. My luggage is where it's meant to be. Life is the way it's meant to be. I take my initiative. I do what I'm meant to do. And then he's by my side, giving me the koach and the strength to be able to get through whatever I'm meant to, whatever I need to get through in my life. Worry and fear, the Chazon Ish writes in his Emunah Bitachon, he says, Daiga is awesome in Torah. To live a life of that anxiety and fear, I'm not talking about clinically diagnosed anxiety, which is, of course, no one's fault and there's no judgment of it, and a person needs to do whatever treatment they need in order to confront and manage the anxiety. So I'm not talking about clinical anxiety. I'm just talking about generic, universal Jewish anxiety. I'm just talking about the regular, everyday anxiety that we all live with and live from. That anxiety, the Chazon Ish writes, what's at the core of anxiety? What if it won't work out? What if it doesn't come out the way I want? What's going to be? Who's absent from that equation? Hashem, the Ribono Shel Olam. Like, what do you mean, what if? He's in charge, he's in control, he's supervising. There's a hashgacha to everything that happens. There is no what if. That whole question of what if is an expression of kfira. So daiga is asam in Torah, to live with anxiety and worry and fear. And again, there are a lot of reasons over this past year, certainly, and the world every day today, a lot of reasons to be anxious. And it's okay, but we just have to take that deep breath and restore our neshama and remember, let go and let God. That Kadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere and by our side, that our whole day is a conversation with him, that there's a reason and meaning and purpose and order to the universe. We're not victims of chance and randomness and circumstance. That's the language of Amalek. Amalek is Asher Korcha B'derech. Rashi says Korcha is Milashon Mikra. Amalek is a chance and happenstance. So what if the randomness strikes me or my family? What if by chance this doesn't work out? That's Amalek. That's the work of Amalek. That's the voice of Amalek. But we have to eradicate and destroy Amalek. A Jew doesn't live listening to Amalek. We live listening to the Ribono Shel Olam. There's no mikra, asher karcha. There's no chance and no randomness. Everything is by design. Everything is from above. Everything is him. Everything is him. You remember to include that in your speech? He wanted you to. I used to, after I give a drasha, I'd be so frustrated. Oh, I should have ended that way. Oh, I forgot the story. I should have used that line. Should have used this to close. And then the whole musaf, I couldn't concentrate on musaf because I was thinking about what I left out in the drasha. And ever since I'm working on living with Emunah, if I forgot something, I say, I wasn't meant to include it. And that's it. I don't think about it again. I don't beat myself up. I don't perseverate over it. I don't forfeit my musaf because of it. I'm not miserable, Alansha. I let it go. Kush Baruch Hu. Now, maybe for next time, have better notes. Look at it beforehand. What can you learn? What could you do better? I'm not saying we should live our life carefree, learn from it, improve upon it, but then let it go. Just let it go, because it was the way it was meant to be. Rishayim, malayim charata. To be a Rasha is to be filled with charata, regret. But if you live with Emunah, if you know Kosh Baruch Hu is in your life, there's no charata, there's no regret. Because even though you live and you learn and you improve and you become better, but you don't perseverate and you're not paralyzed and you're not stuck in the past, because you realize that was the way it was meant to be. You left too late, you came late, you couldn't find the parking spot, it didn't work out. Okay, next time I'll be more punctual. What can I learn from it? How am I better from it? And now I'm not going to beat myself up for whatever reason Hashem put in my head that I would leave late today. To be malayim charata, to be filled with regret, is maisa rishus. It's a machshava, it's a thought of rishus. We're not filled with charata. It radically changes your life. It improves your life, your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. It changes life to let go of the daiga, of the worry, of the fear, of the uncertainty, of the anxiety, and to interpret and to experience and to live life realizing that Uruzu Torah, I could turn the light on. It won't take away the table and the chairs and the people. I still have to figure out how to navigate around them. Still have to figure out a way to get to the destination without tripping and falling. But when I have the light on, now I have the tools. Now it's illuminated the path. Now I know the direction. Now I know how to go. I want to end. I'm going to read to you in the Emunah shir I give. And it's, I think, a very powerful lesson in this, which I only learned by accident because I started getting these emails from people that we're learning every week. In our Emunah shir, we study another piece of Torah from someone else. Nothing's original. That's true for almost anything I say in my life. But it's all from other people. And people send emails. And emails from being in a doctor's office and not getting good news. Emails from uncertainty. I don't know what's going to be. But nevertheless, when they feel, they lean in, Hashem is there, they're able to navigate. And the emails are what give greater strength than anything else we do. Because when you see and hear people are actually practicing and putting it in their life, it gives all the strength to be able to do it. So I have a whole bunch of emails. I get emails regularly, and I love them, and I read every one of them. And they inspire me. And then when I share them, the ones I'm able to share inspire others. So I save them all. But I just this email. Hi, Rabbi Goldberg. Thank you for giving the Emunah shir each week. Without it, simply wouldn't have Emunah. After waiting nearly 5 months for a highly anticipated appointment with a specialist, I was finally on my way to the doctor's office, about 45 to 50 minutes from Boca. I arrived at the building feeling relieved that the day had come. I walked up to the receptionist and said, "Hi, my name is such and such, and I have an appointment." She asked, "Who's your appointment with?" I told her the name of the doctor, and she quickly replied, "Oh no, the doctor has to leave now for 3 emergency surgeries at the hospital." I stayed calm, and I responded, "Okay." She looked at me clearly assuming I didn't understand the situation. She said, "Ma'am, I don't think you understand. I know that you waited a long time, but the doctor has to leave now. I'm not sure she can see you." Again, I calmly said, "Okay, so should I sign in or not?" She grew visibly flustered, unsure of what to do. "I don't know," she stammered. "Let me go ask the doctor." She disappeared into the back and to my surprise returned with the doctor. The doctor approached me and said, "Are you so-and-so?" I nodded. She added, "Let me see you quickly before I head to the hospital." She took a few minutes to address my concerns, and the appointment went well despite the circumstances. Afterwards, the receptionist came back over, looking puzzled. "I don't understand," she said. "Why didn't you get upset when I told you the doctor had emergency surgeries and might not see you? Most people would have been furious after waiting months for an appointment." I looked at her and I said, "Because getting upset wouldn't have helped. If the doctor couldn't see me today, it wouldn't have been your fault or hers. It would have been God's decision. He orchestrates everything. If today wasn't my day to be seen, that would have been his will and I would have accepted it." She stared at me for a moment and she said, "You're so interesting." There wasn't a dramatic response or an outpouring of inspiration for her, but for me, the experience was profound. I felt calm the entire time and even laughed about it later. This moment reinforced a powerful lesson. When you live with the understanding that God is in charge of everything, you find peace amidst life's challenges. Obstacles don't feel overwhelming because you know they're part of a greater plan. And with that faith, you can move through life with calmness and clarity. And these are the type of emails and this is the type of life that we can all be living at this next level. This is what we're trying to do, not just in the radical miracle moments, of which there are also many in our life when we think about it and we don't take it for granted, but even the everyday moments of life. Gemara says in Shabbos, "Hakorei Hallel b'chol yom ze mecharef megad." If somebody reads Hallel every day, is in fact blasphemy. They're blasphemizing God. They're cursing God. which is a peculiar comment because Hallel is all about praising Hashem. And Chazal tell us elsewhere in Shir Hashirim, Kol kilas v'kilas yisrael mekasel HaKadosh Baruch Hu yoshe b'neiim. That in fact, every time you praise Hashem, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu leans in, He comes closer, He's sitting among you. So if praising Hashem is praiseworthy, then why, if you say Hallel every day, is a mecharev megadef? Why is that blasphemy? Why is that cursing Hashem? It should be something wonderful. It should be something celebrated. It should be something which is lauded. Meshech Chochmah Meir Simcha Dvinsk explains, what's Hallel? When do we say Hallel? Hallel are for the Nisim Galuyim. They're for revealed miracles. We say Hallel on Chanukah, the miracle of the Pach Shemen, the miracle of the Milchama. We say Hallel on Yitz Yantif for the miracle of having survived, triumph over our enemies. We say Hallel for the revealed miracles, revealed miracles. If you say Hallel every day, first of all, you're arrogant, you think you're worthy of revealed miracles. But it also means that you're denying and you're failing to see the daily miracles. The daily miracles. The miracles that not only the miracles where nature is suspended, but the miracles that are embedded in nature each and every day. You woke up this morning, your eyes work, your ears work, your feet work, your hands work. They're miracles. We're not entitled. They're not coming to us. They're not a given. There are people who woke up this morning and things didn't work. They didn't work right. There are miracles that happen. The Ramban writes famously in Parshas Bo, Min hanisam hagedolim hamefursamim ad hamoda b'nisam hanestarim. Why does Hashem perform any revealed miracles? Because it's from the revealed miracles that we're reminded and encouraged to be moda for the hidden miracles. Shehem yesod haTorah kula. That is the foundation of all Torah. She'ein la'adam chelik b'Torahs Moshe Rabbeinu ad shenamin b'chol dvareinu u'mikreinu shekulam nisim ein b'hem teva u'minhago shel olam. A person has to know, writes the Ramban, if you want a chelik in Torahs Moshe, you want to be a religious Jew, a righteous Jew, you want to be considered an observant Jew, a Jew who has a portion of the Torah of Moshe, then you need to live your life knowing that when the receptionist says the doctor can't see you, that's from Hashem. You want a chelik in Torahs Moshe, you live life and know that red light, that traffic, that dropped bottle that broke, that experience, that everything that goes right and everything that's not going as right as we want, and wish that wherever we are, we're never stuck or lost, us or our luggage, it's all from above, it's all from Hashem. To be moda in the nisim nistarim. So a person who says Hallel every day, who thinks that Hashem is only present when nature is suspended in the big revealed miracles, is macharef megadef. They're cursing and blaspheming God. Why? Because they're denying that nisach sheb'chol yom imanu, b'chol eis, b'chol shah. Kadosh Baruch Hu is with us every day, every moment, everything we endure, everything that we go through, everything that we experience, He's by our side. And that gives us the courage and the encouragement, that gives us the tools to be able to face and be able to overcome. I just want to end by suggesting, and I was told that it should just be a shir on Emunah, not necessarily specific to Aleinu and the outreach work that we do, but I just want to encourage, perfect timing. Before you walked in, I said I want to end by saying, so I'm on it. I didn't say how long it'll take to end, but I want to end by saying, of all the work that we do in Kiruv, and we're all in Kiruv, because we're all trying to get close. What's a korban? The first writes the root of the word korban is Kiruv, Karev. We're trying to come close to Kadosh Baruch Hu. All of us are trying to be Baalei Tshuva, and all of us are trying to come close to Kadosh Baruch Hu. And it's the work that we're all doing on ourselves and with our families and with others. But all that work has to begin with Emunah, Bitachon, and Dveikus. And I think when we look around our world, it's also the greatest opportunity. It's a very confused world, a corrupt world, a chaotic world. People are lost. They're lost souls. We're living in the most prosperous time in history. I repeat this often because I marvel at it. It is the most prosperous, comfortable, convenient, luxurious time in history. It may not feel like it, but it is by far. And we're only getting started with technology. It's only going to advance. The poorest person that you know still has a washing machine and still has a dishwasher and still has power windows and probably has a recent edition of a smartphone and has indoor air conditioning and plumbing and heating and a lot of creature comforts. That's not to minimize people's struggles. There are people who need a lot of help, and we daven for them. They should break through and have parnasa b'shefa. I'm not minimizing their struggles, but we're living in the most prosperous time ever, which one would think would translate to the happiest time ever. And despite it, it's the most prosperous time ever and the most miserable time ever. People are miserable and anxious and depressed and worried. Mental illness at an all-time high, prescription medications at an all-time high, dysfunction and family breakdowns at an all-time high, all against the backdrop of longer life than ever, greater health and longevity than ever, more creature comforts than ever, more conveniences than ever. It doesn't stim, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. Only it does. Because if you live for happiness, then you're unhappy. Happiness is elusive. In America, the Declaration of Independence gives the right to a pursuit of happiness. You have to pursue something because it's running away from you. Happiness is elusive. Yid and Jews, we don't live for happiness, we live for holiness. And when it turns out, when you live for holiness, you find happiness. When you live for happiness, you have neither holiness nor happiness. So I think that the work that we do in Kiruv Levavos, the work that we're doing in inspiring people, is to tap into that hole in the heart, the lostness, even of the people who don't know they're lost. Even the people who don't know that they're stuck. Even the people who don't know what's missing. What's missing is meaning and purpose and connection to something bigger and greater than us, which is the source of true happiness. When a person lets go and lets God, no matter what obstacles, struggles they're facing in life, there could be a simchas achayim, shivisi Hashem hishtavos, a simchas achayim that could come from knowing that Hashem is with us. Nothing is random or chance. And so with all the learning and all the teaching and all the Torah, there's no question still the greatest tools for Kiruv, the delicious chicken soup and cholent and Shabbos experience. But there's nothing like the taste of Emunah. There's nothing like the taste of Emunah. And so to utilize these language and these tools and this life and this lifestyle and these stories, to be able to ourselves live with Emunah, and hopefully when we're overflowing with Emunah, it'll flow into the people around us to lift all of us, for all of us to be able to come closer to Hashem, to be able to come closer to one another. Thank you so much for having me and for listening.